Good morning, Suprabhat, Namaskar. I am C. Ankit Sharma. Welcome you all in our income tax class for today's session. Today we will be discussing further some provision regarding salary topic. Today would be the provision in which we have already discussed in the last session. Salary part 1, we have discussed the provision of gratuity, leave encashment, pension, etc. And today we will be discussing the other provisions like retrenchment, compensation, voluntary retirement scheme, superannuation fund provision, and there would be some perquisite also. So I believe you all must be studying very hard to achieve the goal of your life to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. So I have given you some homework in the last session, and I believe you must have tried that. We will discuss that also. MCQ session would be also there today. So in which we will discuss some questions regarding the salary topic. But before that, there is just a correction of the last class in which we have discussed the transport allowance provision. There is a simple correction you have to do. So this transport allowance provision we have discussed in the last class. If the transport allowance has been received by a normal employee, so the provision we have discussed, if it is a normal employee, normal organization employee, then if it is an handicapped employee, then we will have an exemption of 3,200 rupees per month. In other, there is no exemption, 100% taxable. That is same, no change over here. If a transport employee receive transport allowance, and if he does not receive any daily allowance, then the exemption would be 10,000 rupees per month or 70% of allowance received, whichever is lower. That is also same, no change over here, just a slight change in this case. Please read very carefully. There is a slight change in this provision. If transport allowance is received by a transport employee and he's also received daily allowance, so technically a transport employee if receive daily allowance as well as transport allowance both, in that situation, this is the correction that transport allowance would be 100% taxable. We have written the opposite case. So transport allowance in that case would be 100% taxable and daily allowance is going to be exempted as per section 1014 provision. That is amount received or amount used for official purpose, whichever is lower. So please, once again, you need to make this correction in the provision, what we have discussed in the last session. In last session, I have written by mistake that transport allowance will be exempted like this if the assessee is receiving both allowances. Daily allowance I have written going to be full taxable. The provision says vice versa. Transport allowance is going to be 100% taxable and daily allowance would be exempted as per section 1014 provision, because daily allowance is the part of special allowances. Conveyance allowance, traveling allowance, daily allowance, uniform allowance, academic allowance, helper allowance. So the exemption in that case is amount received or amount used for official purpose. Okay, so please make this correction in your notes. Now let me see what else. Linga is good morning, good morning. So Miss Sakti also good morning. Navneet, good morning. Okay, Chandana, good morning. Satish, good morning. Then Lakshmi, good morning. Good morning, Neeraj. Good morning, Pooja. Good morning, Riddhiben. Lakshita, good morning. Shamli, good morning. Santosh, good morning. Shreen, good morning. Good morning, Archana. Aditya, good morning. Adil, good morning. Nisi, good morning. Shlesha, good morning. Ajay, good morning. Theosami, good morning. Okay, so I believe you must have made this correction in your notes. So before starting the class, as usual, there would be a thought for the day for all of you. It's a very simple thought, but it's still very powerful. It says, be stronger than your excuse. So It happens, I have seen that generally students says that I would not be able to study because of this reason or because of that reason. I would give next attempt in a better way, but not this attempt because there is this situation at my house, etc. So there could be reason, but you have to be strong than your excuses. It's your life, it's your career. So you have to choose very wisely whether you want to give an excuse or you just want to do whatever you have set as a goal for your life. So please set aside your excuse and be focused on your goal. So there could be problem, there could be struggles in your life, but your goal is bigger than that. So kindly be stronger than your excuses. Okay. Moving on to the provision now. So all of you have tried the provisions, the illustration I have asked you to do. Illustration number, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 we have discussed. And I have also asked you to solve test your knowledge question number 1. Radheshyam Tiwari is saying means when DA is not received, then 10,000 per month or 70%, whichever is lower. Exactly. If DA is received, then transport allowance is 100% taxable and DA allowance exemption, daily allowance exemption, you can claim as per section 1014 provision, which is amount received or amount used for official purpose, whichever is lower, is going to be exempted. Absolutely correct. So students, I just want to ask because the interaction was required as per your feedback. So let's have an interaction. So I'm going to ask some provision and I would like to see who will be able to answer those provision what we have discussed in last class. So can you explain me, anyone can explain me the provision of gratuity? And I want to understand gratuity C case salary. You have to tell me what is the meaning of gratuity C case, the case in which payment of gratuity act does not applicable. In that case, what is the component of salary should be there? Shalini has raised her hand. So can we unmute Shalini?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
In gratuity C case, there is list of the following cases. First is actual gratuity received, and second is fixed 20 lakh. Third is half of average monthly salary and into year of service that is complete.
I
There's
have asked what is the meaning of average monthly salary. Just explain me the average monthly salary meaning. Okay.
average monthly salary is last month drawn of 10 months of average, and include basic salary plus dear allowance, which is term of employment, and percentage of commission of sale on sale.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Well done. Well done, Shalini. Very nice. So now I want to know, okay, we have discussed in salary topic till now, basic salary as per gratuity C case, we include basic salary plus percentage commission on sale and dearness allowance if as per terms of employment or as per retirement benefit, etc. So in the salary topic till now, there are four places. There are four places. In those places, we have to take salary as per gratuity C case. One case is gratuity C case itself. There are three more cases in which you have to take salary as per gratuity C case. Till now, whatever we have studied, till now, there are three cases. More three cases in which when we take salary, it should be as per gratuity C case. So who will tell me those three cases? Shalini again, okay, not raising her hand. Anyone else who can explain me or who can just need to tell me what are those cases in which we have to take salary as per gratuity C case? That means basic salary, DA as per terms and percentage commission on sale. So Shalini again raise her hand. So Shalini, please go ahead.
In leave encashment received after retirement,
Correct.
one other employee, list of 25 lakh fixed and leave salary actually received by company, and average monthly salary, which includes basic salary, dear allowance as per
I
term.
got it. No. I just want to know there are three cases. So one case is leave encashment. Two more cases in which we have to take salary as per gratuity C case. So one is leave encashment, you told me correctly. Two more cases.
Two, sir, not remember.
Okay, Dhanlakshmi wants to tell. Okay, Dhanlakshmi.
It is HRA, sir. One is HRA.
Your voice
One
is
is
not very slow. Please a little louder. One is
HRA.
HRA and
One is HRA. One
yeah,
is pension.
one is HRA, another is
Pension, sir.
pension. No, no. In pension, we did not take salary as per any case. In pension, it is 1/3 or 1/2 of computed value of pension. Where is that salary concept has been came in the pension? One is
One
gratuity
is
case, one is leave encashment, one is HRA. Now only one case left, which is the last one.
transport allowance. Transport allowance.
Transport. No, no transport salary. Okay, so Tiwari, please, you continue. Radheshyam Tiwari wants to tell.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
The third case is Provident Fund.
Yes, exactly. Very well done. The third case is Provident Fund. In the RPF case, when we discuss 12% of salary, in that case, in the note it has been written the salary as per gratuity CK. So that's why gratuity CK salary is very important, because till now we have seen that in 4 cases we have to take the salary as per gratuity C case, and there a lot more to come. So there are almost 5 or 6 cases in the whole salary chapter in which you have to consider salary as per gratuity C case. Understood? Okay. Okay, now Navneet Maurya, DA exempt होता है HRA. DA is a dearness allowance you are saying, Navneet, or daily allowance? So if it is daily allowance, what we have discussed, so daily allowance would be taxable as per the provision under section 1014. If it has been received with a special allowance, is transport allowance. If it is not transport allowance, then daily allowance would going to be exempted accordingly. So daily allowance is a part of special allowance. You can go and read it. HRA, leave encashment, gratuity, and provident fund. Sir, you are not watching chat. I've just seen that. Don't worry. Provident fund, leave encashment, HRA, and gratuity. Absolutely correct. PF, correct. Pooja is said correct. Not included in pension. VRS, we have to study. Okay, so gratuity, PF, leave encashment, and HRA. Absolutely right. So let's move on to the provision. And we have completed our part 1. Now we are on to the part 2 provisions. So salary part 2. So the way we have discussed in the last part 1, that was provident fund contribution. In the same way, there is one more new kind of contribution, that is Agnipath scheme 2022. So if you have joined army under Agnipath scheme, then again it's a kind of a provident fund contribution which is need to be done by an employee, and the equal contribution needs to be done by the employer, and the payment made by employer would be the part of your salary income. Very simple concept. The contribution made by the central government in the previous year to the Agniveer Corpus Fund account of an individual enrolled in Agnipath scheme under section 80 CCH. The provisions are as simple as that. You can read it. The main concept is over here. The Agniveer Corpus Fund is defined as a fund in which consolidated contribution of all the Agniveers and matching contribution of the government along with the interest on these contribution would be held in their respective account. So as in case of Provident Fund, a certain contribution needs to be done from the salary of employee, and an equal contribution or more than that can be done by the employer. So that contribution made by employer is going to be taxed. In the same way, in case of Agniveer, the payment or the contribution done by the employer is going to be taxed as your part of salary. So this is the main provision over here. central government contribution to Agniveer Corpus Fund account would be part of salary of employee under section 17(1). For this contribution, the employee can claim a deduction also under section 80 CCH. That is going to be discussed under deduction chapter. So this is normal provision. You can go through it. Profit in lieu of salary. These are the topic which is going to be covered under point number 2. Some compensation, retirement compensation, retrenchment compensation, payment from provident fund, keyman insurance policy payment, lump sum payment, otherwise. So first we are discussing retrenchment compensation. So retrenchment means to terminate someone from the organization, or of course some genuine reason. But if you terminate someone before his or her retirement, then in certain cases you have to pay compensation to that employee, and that compensation is called retrenchment compensation. And a certain amount of that compensation could be exempted as per income tax provision. As I have told you earlier also, as we do not need to bother about when this compensation going to be received by an employee, when gratuity needs to be received by an employee, when pension is going to be received by an employee or not. We only concern about one thing. If in the question these compensation has been given, even it is pension, gratuity, leave encashment, provident fund, retrenchment, VRS, etc., etc., how much we need to be taxed or how much we need to be exempted. These are the only concern in point of view of income tax provision. So when it's need to be received, what is the concept, etc., that is not of our concern. We have just to see that if this compensation, if this certain kind of income has been given in the question, how we are going to treat it under income tax provision. The retrenchment compensation means the compensation paid by Industrial Dispute Act 1947 or under any other act, rule, order, notification issued under any law. It also includes compensation paid on transfer of employment under section 25F or closing down of undertaking under section 25FF of the Industrial Dispute Act. So what are these conditions under Industrial Dispute Act? None of our concern. If that compensation has been received by an employee, how we are going to tax it, that is relevant. The retrenchment compensation exemption says compensation received at the time of retrenchment will be exempt minimum of the following, because it is also as a compensation. So if it is received during service, any compensation if received during service going to be taxed completely, 100% tax. So the exemption will applicable only if this compensation has been received at the time of retirement, etc. Minimum of 3 value is going to be exempted and balance is going to be taxed. So amount received, that would be given in question. The fixed limit of government in this case is 5 lakh rupees. The notified limit is 5 lakh rupees, that is fixed. And the third is the formula. Amount as per section 20F Industrial Dispute Act 1947, that needs to be calculated like this. 15/26 average pay of last 3 months. So last 3 months salary, average salary we have to take, and year of service. So year of service is just like gratuity B case. That means if there is any fraction more than 6 months or equal to, that would be converted into 1 year. And you can see this formula. This formula is like gratuity B case. If you will see, almost this formula is like gratuity B case. That was 15/26. Remember? Into monthly salary into year of service. So this is same. This is same. Now this has been changed under retrenchment as average pay of last 3 months. So in this case, we have to take the salary of average of last 3 months. Example has been given over here. You can see Mr. X received retrenchment compensation of 10 lakhs. So this is my actual amount received after 30 year and 4 months of job. So we will take as an year 30 year in this case. At the time of retrenchment, he was drawing basic salary of 20,000 per month Dearness allowance 5,000. So in case of gratuity B case, I believe you must have remembered what is the definition of salary. The salary means salary last drawn, and it includes basic salary plus all kind of dearness allowance. In B case, all kind of dearness allowance need to be included, whether as per terms of employment or not. So you can see the solution 10 lakh rupees, 5 lakh, 15 upon 26. And this is my average pay of last 3 months. Because salary has been given 20,000 and 5,000 days. So we have to take full 25,000. If you'll take 3 months average, so that would remain the same. 75,000 divided by 3. So the last month's salary would be automatically average pay of last 3 months. If there is no change in last 3 months salary, then always the average and the last month's salary would be equal. It's just a simple mathematics. Year is 30, so this is going to be my exempted amount. And the balance, whatever amount we have received, 10 lakh rupees. So if we reduce 4,32,962 out of this 10 lakh rupees, the balance is going to be taxable value. There are certain notes regarding it. The above limit will not be applicable if this retrenchment has been done by central government in any company or organization under special circumstances. Then 100% of retrenchment compensation would be exempted. Okay, there is a correction you need to be done in study material. In study, the note number 2, explaining the average pay means average of wages payable to a workman. In this case, if it has been monthly paid, 3 complete calendar months average we have to take. If that's a weekly paid workman, the 4 calendar weeks average we need to take. And in case of daily paid workmen, it has been written over here in the 12 full working weeks. So kindly change this. This is wrong. It should be in the 12 full working days. In the study, you have to make this correction. It should be days. Okay. So mainly, as per examination point of view, month-based question going to be framed. But this is the definition. If theoretically in examination it has been asked, the average pay means, then you have to take days in place of weeks in third situation. Kindly read these, the definition of wages, etc. Not that much relevant. This exemption is available irrespective of the regime. All compensation, whether it's pension, gratuity, leave encashment, etc., is available irrespective of the regime, whether it's default tax regime or optional tax regime. Now, point number 1, what we have discussed, retrenchment compensation means when your employer forcefully retrench you from an organization. So you have been taken out of that organization forcefully. But the second one is voluntarily retirement receipt. Voluntary. Now suppose your age is 55 and the retirement is going to be done at 60 years. So employer launch a scheme that if any one of you needs to get retired yourself voluntarily, then you can take a certain amount of compensation and you can say bye-bye to the organization. So if any of the employee opt this scheme of voluntarily being retired from the organization after taking a certain amount of compensation. So as per income tax, what we need to do, we have to find out how much it's going to be taxed and how much is going to be exempted. Why somebody is going to take this voluntary retirement, what is the benefit, what is the pro, what are cons, etc. This is none of our concern. That's a very huge thing. There will be multiple things. According to that, an employee will opt it or will not opt it. Let me see if there's any query. Kuldeep Nagar, salary in retrenchment compensation. Salary case B will be applicable. Not exactly. The case would be applicable according to point number 3. It explains the definition of salary in case of retrenchment compensation. You can go through it. If there would be any problem, I will discuss this point in the next session. What is section 25F, Aditya? It's a section of Industrial Dispute Act 1947, in which retrenchment, how much amount of retrenchment and the retrenchment conditions has been prescribed. That is none of our concern. Do not bother about it. Saipa Virali is saying, in gratuity case, if an employee is retired on 31st January 26, then can January be included in calculating the last 10 months average salary? The provision says preceding 10 months average. So we should skip the 31st day of January concept. We have to take it from December. Because if you retired on 31st, then you will not going to receive the 31st, the day you retire, that salary. So as per the literal meaning, we should consider December and before 10 preceding months average salary. So in case of voluntary retirement, if okay, Saipa is saying, sir, you said to remind you that illustration 8 you will do in class. Yes, exactly. I have asked that. I have already write that point in my notes also. We will definitely going to discuss illustration number 8 after this voluntary retirement, etc. So voluntary retirement receipt says if any employee voluntarily retire himself from any organization and against which he is receiving some lump sum consideration, then what is going to be the treatment under income tax? So lump sum payment or otherwise received by an employee at the time of voluntary retirement would be taxable as profit in lieu of salary. However, it would be exempt under section 1010C subject to the following conditions. Compensation received by an employee of public sector, private sector company, local authority established by central government, state government, university, cooperative society will be exempt minimum of the following if retirement as per the guidelines issued by the government. There are the guidelines what issued by the government, but we have to focus on how much amount is going to be exempted or taxable. This is our main focus in any question, to find out the correct taxable or exempted amount as required by the question. So first point is always as simple as that amount received that would be given in question. Second is 5 lakh. So you can see in case of retrenchment compensation and in case of voluntary retirement scheme, the fixed limit is same 5 lakh, 5 lakh. Third point is 3 into monthly salary. In the retrenchment, we have to take the 3 months average salary. But in this case, now it only needs to be taken monthly salary. Monthly salary of last month. In which month you have retired. Skip that month. The last month you have received. You have to take that. And what we need to consider in that case, basic salary, DA term plus percentage commission on sale. That means again, gratuity C case. But there is no average required. If I have taken a voluntary retirement today, 8th November 2025, then what would be there in monthly salary? The October salary, 3 component. Basic salary, DA term, percentage commission of sale. As it has been written of only last month. And multiplied by completed year of service. You can say this is slightly similar to gratuity C case formula. It was 1/2 into average monthly salary into complete year of service. So complete of year of service exactly same. Instead of 1/2, it's 3. And average monthly salary may say only monthly salary remains. So 3 into monthly salary into completed year of service. That is the third point we have to consider for the purpose of calculation. Now salary last drawn. The last point is salary last drawn, same as above. That means last month's salary multiplied by balance month of service left from the date of retirement. Now suppose, let me give you an example. Suppose an employee age is 56 year and he has worked in an organization. The balance year of service left, suppose 4 years and 10 months service left before retirement. He has completed his service of 30 year and 7 months. Complete year of service. So in the examination or in the question, every information must be there. There would be all information. You just need to recall the formula and you would be able to solve the numerical. Suppose he has taken voluntarily retirement and for voluntary retirement, he has received 10 lakh rupees. The salary of last month, basic salary was suppose 50,000 rupees per month. DA was 10,000 per month, out of which 60% as per terms of employment. Commission per month was 6,500 rupees. Other allowances taxable 10,000 rupees per month. Now the question asked you to solve the exemption for VRS. So the first point would be 10 lakh rupees, students. The second point would be 5 lakh rupees fixed limit. Now the third point would be 3 into monthly salary into completed year of service. So 3 into monthly salary. Now can you tell me how much monthly salary I should take to multiply with 3? In this case, like year of service, we all know complete year of service 30 year and 7 months. So we will only take the year 30. So how much would be the monthly salary in this example I should take? Mustafa is saying 50 plus 6. Okay, that means 56. Dhanlakshmi is saying 56. Pooja is saying 72,500. Neeraj is saying 66,500. 66,500. Okay. 56,000 is saying Atitya. Adil is saying 56,000. Tiwari Radheshyam 56. Shamli is saying 56. Navneet is saying VRS and HRA salary calculation is same. Yes, that is again gratuity C case. We do not need to take any average, but components are same. Pooja is saying 62,500. Nagarjun saying 56. Archana is saying 66,500. Golti Anil is saying 62,500. Kuldeep is saying 62,500. Navneet is saying 56. Ashlesha is saying 62,500. Adit is saying 6,000. Lakshita is saying 56. Riddhi Ben is saying 56. Vinga is saying 62,500. Tanisha is saying 56. Harsh is saying 56. Tia is saying 60,500. Different answer. Hiram is saying 62,500. Shalini is saying 60,000. Mustafa is saying 62,500. Okay, let me see any more answers. 62,500 by Dia. She rectified her answer. Anyone left? Manish, Avinash is saying 56. Then Lakshmi, fraction need not to be considered in case of complete year of service. So what was the definition of gratuity C case salary, or we can say what was the consideration or components we should take in for the purpose of calculation of salary for the purpose of voluntary retirement. In the provision you must have seen, it needs to be considered basic salary. I have said DA as per terms of employment and percentage commission on sale. So a lot of students had included this commission for the purpose of salary calculation in this example. Why? Is this commission percentage based on sale? Is there any percentage I have written in this commission? I have written commission per month. Is there this percentage commission on sale? No. Then why you have included students, multiple students, more than 50% answers are wrong. This is really, really scary. This is very simple. We have to take the basic salary and the as per term part out of this 10,000. That means 6,000. So it's simple. Only 56,000 needs to be taken. Only 56,000, because the commission is not given as per percentage of sale. If I have written that percentage commission on sale 6,500 rupees, then you can include it. But when the information is not there, why you have included students? Let me tell you one thing. There is no universal law that all the information which is given in question need to be taken for the purpose of solution. Students, there could be information which is just to misguide you, to make you confused. You have seen the commission, you have included it. But why you did not use your provision brain? I have told you, na? There are 3 stages of applying provision. Understand the problem, process it with your brain, and then answer. What you are doing? Commission include. No. You have to process that commission. Is it that commission what we have discussed as per gratuity C case? Percentage based on sale. This is not percentage based sale. So that would be only 56,000. Don't repeat this kind of mistake, because what will happen now? You know the provision. You know what's hurt the most? When you give your examination and you came back to your home and you check your questions. So those questions you have already tried in practice. You know the kind of solution. You know everything about those numerical or theoretical provision. But if you do mistakes, this kind of silly mistake in that question, then when you'll come back and you will find it out after examination, it will hurt most. You will regret it. So please do not do this kind of mistake, because this will cost a lot. Okay, the last point was monthly salary. Again, the same 56,000 multiplied by balance month of year of service left. So service left was 4 years and 10 months. So how much month left? That means 58 months. 4 years is 48 months plus 10 months more. So this 4 point, the lowest is going to be exempted and balance is going to be taxed, if any. Understood? So it's my humble request. Please focus whenever you solve anything. Pooja is saying 66,000. Why? Why, Pooja? Fraction not required to be considered because it is complete year of service. Kuldeep is saying a basis of commission not given, then you cannot consider it as percentage base. If it is percentage based, there would be specifically written percentage based commission. And if commission is per month, then it cannot be percentage based ever. Okay. So only in case of total year of service, we have converted the fraction in 1 if 0.5 more than that, right? In case of B only or retrenchment case, if the complete year of service word has been written, then fraction would not be considered at all. Linga is saying, got it. Thank you very much. You're welcome. But monthly salary as per case B, basic P, that is for retrenchment, Shalini. We are discussing voluntary retirement provisions. So both are different. Clear? You can see that we have discussed that provision just now. Monthly salary, basic salary. I have written this also over here. Basic salary, DA terms, percentage commission on sale as per gratuity C case. Understood? So there are guidelines. You can go through yourself. Simple provisions are there. If there would be any confusion, I will discuss it with you. Again, this exemption is available in both regime, whether it's in default tax regime or it's a optional tax regime. Now, perquisites. Perquisites means that a facility that is provided to you, and that would be non-monetary. This is the basic difference between an allowance and perquisite. That allowances are generally, or no, we can say not generally, allowances are always in monetary form. A certain amount of money would be provided by your employer to you for certain kind of expenditure, whether it's for house rent, whether it's for traveling, whether it's for transport, whether it's for any other thing. So a certain amount of payment will be received by an employee, and whatever amount he will spend on that expenditure or not, the amount is not required to be returned. It would be taxed or exempted as per the income tax provision. But if you're not going to spend that amount, you are not going to return that amount to the employer. That is your money. How much is going to be taxed or exempted? That's a different criteria. But in case of perquisite, you will exactly gaining the same expenditure benefit, but not in monetary form. If employer wants to provide a house to stay, either the employer can give you house rent allowance, so you will find a house yourself, or the employer can provide you directly a house of that exact facility. That there is a company flat, you can go and stay there, you need not to pay any rent. So now this kind of things we will call perquisite. If employer arrange a cab for you, that cab is going to pick you up from your house and going to drop you at your office, and vice versa after your job. So you need not to pay anything to the cab. So this is kind of a perquisite. So perquisite would be always non-monetary. And let me tell you, all reimbursement also. All reimbursement also regarded as perquisite, because in that case, again, you have to be received a certain amount of expenditure, but you have to prove that exactly that amount you have incurred for that expenditure. So there could be multiple kind of perquisite like student loan, care gate, financial paid, mental health, professional development. Multiple perquisite provisions are there. We will discuss one by one, and we have to discuss the taxability or the exemption concept regarding that. What kind of perquisite employee is receiving, why he's receiving, why employer not providing that perquisite, those perquisite, none of our business. So the meaning of perquisite, the term perquisite indicates some extra benefit in addition to the amount that may be legally due by way of contract for services rendered in modern time. The salary package of an employee normally includes monetary salary perquisite like housing, car, etc. Okay, after this theoretical concept, I will solve that illustration number 8. Okay, I forgot that. So perquisite may be provided in cash or in kind. So if it is in cash, that would be in the nature of reimbursement. That employer will provide you a certain amount of cash. Take this 1000 rupees for your traveling purpose. So whatever amount expended, you have to submit the bills. Suppose the bills have been submitted for 800 rupees. Then 200 you have to return back, or that could be adjusted from your salary. But in case of allowance, you need not to return back anything. So perquisite can also be in cash, but that could be in case of reimbursement concept. Reimbursement, you can read that the perquisite is arise due to relationship of employer and employee. Then also it would be form part of your salary part. If there is no relationship of employer-employee exist, in that case, perquisite, allowance, etc., by whatever name called, could not be the part of your salary income. This is example to make you this understand why perquisite would be fall in salary head when there is a relationship of employer-employee exist only in that situation. So kindly read this example. Definition of perquisite. Perquisite, again, the kind of allowances we have discussed, that certain allowances exempted only for optional tax regime. certain exempted for both tax regime, partly exempted for both tax regime. Like that, we have a types of perquisite also. Perquisite taxable in case of all employees. Some perquisites are tax-free in case of all employees. So there are certain perquisite taxable for all employees. There is not regime provision. There are employees because there are two kinds of employee from the point of view of taxability of perquisite. For the purpose of allowances, compensation, etc., no bifurcation required. But if they are perquisite, then you have to see whether the employee is a specified employee or whether it's in non-specified employee. So now there must be a question running into your brain, and I guess multiple of you going to be asked even without understanding that we will discuss the definition of specified and non-specified. So who are specified employee, who are non-specified, definitely we are going to discuss. So do not ask what are these employees category, we will discuss. Understand that these perquisites are taxable for both kind of employee, whether it's specified or non-specified. These are tax-free for all employees, specified, non-specified. And these are only taxable in the hands of specified employees. So if you'll see or if you'll understand, so the treatment of these perquisites are same for all. So why do we need to find it out whether he is a specified employee or not? Because the treatment is going to be same in case of all employees. So not to worry. These are exempted for both employees, specified, non-specified. So why do we need to find it out? These are the perquisite for which we have to see, we have to find out whether that employee is a specified employee or not. Because these perquisites only taxable in the hands of a specified employee. That means in case of non-specified employee, these perquisites are going to be exempted. So when you solve a question of a specified perquisite employee or non-specified, so the third category perquisite, if those perquisites are in question, then you have to see if the employee is specified, then only I am going to do the treatment of taxability. Else I can write it down exempted and the solution would be over there. Understand? So now before moving ahead, let me solve that illustration number 8. Devari Radhesham is saying we have to take year completed or balance year. In point number 4, we do need to take balance month left. Balance year nahi, balance month left. So that months need to be taken in point number 4 of voluntarily retirement scheme. I had confusion in percentage commission on sale and now clear, Neeraj. Okay, welcome. That's why we are here. When I was working from home, the internet bill up to 1000 excluding OTTs would be reimbursement for us when we upload the bill in portal. So it is a perquisite? Yes, exactly. This is the practical example of that perquisite. So saw how 58th in 4 case, 58 months, because in the example I have written the balance number of years service left is 4 year and 10 months, 4 year and 10 months balance number of service left. You can see over here. Balance year of service left, that would be given in the question. 4 year and 10 months. So how much it would be? 4 years is 48 months and 10 months more. So 58 would be the total months of service left at the time I have taken the voluntarily retirement. 5 lakh is least. Some question asked does not claim relief. Relief is a separate topic. We will discuss at the end of salary topic, the relief concept under section 89. Harsh is saying there is nothing hard. We have to remember the limit and put in the question because everything will be given in question. Now you got it. You will see in every question, whether it's an HRA question, voluntary retirement, gratuity, leave encashment, pension, there are specific formulas. If you have learned those formula easily, or if you learn those formula correctly, in the question, all information would be there. You just need to put the values in that formula and you will get your answer. To learn those formula, the problem is there are multiple formula. There are multiple cases, compensation, provident fund, HRA, abhi to perquisite yet to come. So that would be more. So you can make short notes of gratuity exemption criteria, only those 4 points of gratuity ABC case by yourself also. I will upload the chart today. But you can make the short note of gratuity exemption, how to find it out, how to find out pension exemption. So if you will make short note yourself, it would really going to help you to understand the provision easily. Okay. Mustafa is saying perquisites are mostly non-monetary, and if it is in cash or in kind, then if full not exhausted, then we have to return it. So main difference is perquisite and allowances, monetary and non-monetary. And if perquisite we have to return what we did not spend, it will not count in our salary, and in allowance we have to not return money and it's part of salary. Exactly, you got it correctly, Mustafa. Hina, okay sir, got it. Thank you. Actually, I thought it was year by mistake. Not a problem. Happens. Tiwari Radhesham. Okay, thank you. So moving on to the questions. Illustration number 8, we are discussing on page number 3.45, students. I believe you must have tried all the other illustration of gratuity, etc., leave encashment, what I've asked you to solve. So, illustration 8 is a simple illustration, but it is not for any specific provision like gratuity, salary, pension, leave encashment. It's a comprehensive question of salary. So that's why I would like to solve it for all of you. Very simple question, nothing difficult to discuss. Page number 3.45. Moving on, 3.45. Okay, so this is illustration number 8. So let me tell you, when we will say that we will consider dearness allowance as per terms of employment, we have to consider commission, which is percentage based on sale, etc. So that is for only that specific solution of that particular allowance or compensation, etc. But when you calculate your gross salary, full salary, then whether DA is as per term or non-terms, we have to consider both. Whether commission is on percentage based or per month, we have to consider. So we need to consider all DA, all commission when we calculate gross salary. But maybe when we calculate HRA, then for the purpose of that specific allowance, the taxability of that allowance, we need to consider HRA as per retirement benefit. So now you will see when we will solve the question of computation of gross salary, then how we need to take the amounts, the components which has been given in the question. So basic salary, 10,000 rupees per month. So for the purpose of solution, how much we will include for the year? It's 1,20,000. Now DA is 50% is for retirement benefit. So if I have asked to solve gratuity C case, if I asked to solve HRA or provident fund provision, then I will take only 4,000 of it. But because I need to calculate gross salary, so for the purpose of gross salary, full amount DA would form of my salary income. So that would be 96,000. For the purpose of examination point of view, if that is as per terms of employment or any part of it as per terms of employment, so always make a practice. You can write it down after this full value that 50% as per term. So when this question, there would be HRA provision, provident fund provision, etc. So you will not make a mistake that you will consider the full DA or you will skip the full. If it has been written by you that 50% is of term. So for the purpose of calculation, you automatically take 50%. So always make in practice that regarding DA, if it is as per terms of employment, write it down that percentage in the bracket after that amount. Now again, same in case of commission. Now commission as a percentage of turnover has been given 0.1% of 50 lakh rupees the turnover. Turnover has been given 50 lakh and 0.1% would be, I guess, 5,000 rupees. And again, we will write it down percentage mark. So if there would be any calculation, I know I have to consider this commission also. Now bonus, full value is going to be taxed because we have not discussed any specific provision regarding bonus and they all are monetary. You must have remembered when the ITL format we were discussing in the starting, there was all monetary. So I would ask you to consider all monetary payment first. And after that, perquisite, etc. needs to be taken. In this example, that would be later. Now, bonus is 40,000 and gratuity. You will see there is no retirement information has been given in this whole question. No retirement. It has not been given how much year employee has been worked for receiving this gratuity. Not even it has been written that gratuity received at a time of retirement, etc. So that means this gratuity has been received during service. No retirement information means that you are receiving these compensation during service. And we have discussed whether it's pension, gratuity, leave, etc. If received during service, what should be the taxable value? The full value is going to be taxed. Full value, 100%. Why? Because it's during service. Next, his own contribution in the RPF, Recognized Provident Fund. Own contribution means employee contribution. So what is the treatment of employee contribution in salary head? What is the treatment of employee contribution under salary head? Who will tell me? Send me your answers. Let me see. Nagarjun, some question asked does not claim relief. So for the purpose of compensation, etc., if you have claim exemption over here, you cannot claim relief. So that you would be able to understand when we will discuss the provision of relief. Okay. Deduction 80C. So there would be no treatment under the head salary. Mustafa is wrong. Employee contribution do not have any treatment because that employee contribution already taxed in his basic salary. Employer contribution is having treatment, not employee contribution. So employee contribution against you can claim deduction under section 80C, etc. But no treatment under salary head. Okay, so this is having no treatment under salary head. You can claim deduction under section 80C, that is also under optional tax regime. But that is going to be discussed under deduction topic. So employee contribution having no treatment under salary head. Yes, employer contribution is having treatment under salary head. 20% of his basic salary is the contribution amount. And the provision was up to 12% of salary as per gratuity C case is exempted. Balance is going to be taxed. So how much contribution he has made? He has made 20% of basic salary. So the actual contribution is basic salary 20%. Basic salary is 1,20,000 20%. For the purpose of that 12% of salary, we will take salary as per gratuity C case. Not for this, because it has been specifically written that contribution, actual contribution is 20% of basic salary. That means 24,000. Out of this, 12% we have to reduce, because up to 12% of salary as per. Now, for the purpose of exemption of 12%, which salary need to be considered? Basic commission percentage base plus DA term. And if you'll see, 120 plus 50% of this and 5,000. That means 1,20,000 plus 48,000 plus 5,000. We have to find out the 12% of this. If the contribution is more than that, 24,000 is more than that, then the balance is going to be taxed. So you will see the balance total is 20,760. 12% would be 20,760. So up to 12% it's exempt, and balance 3,240 is going to be taxed. Understood? So contribution, we have to see how much contribution has been actually made, and that is 20% of basic salary mentioned, no DA, because it's specifically written basic salary. So we have taken that contribution. Now we have to compare whether it's exceeding 12% of salary or not. So for this calculation, now we have to take basic, DA as per terms, and percentage commission 12%. That is 20,760. So the contribution is excess of 3,240, that is going to be taxed. And the last is interest accrued in RPF 13% per annum, 13,000. Up to 9.5% it would have been exempted. I have shown you the solution we have to done. 13,000 equivalent to 13%. So up to 9.5 is exempt. So balance 3.5% is going to be taxed. Accordingly, that would be 3,500. This is my gross salary. So this illustration is just to make you understand that when we will calculate a full salary question, we have to take full DA, we have to take all kind of commission, etc. So there's percentage commission on sale or DA term that could be used for the purpose of separate calculation. But for the purpose of gross salary calculation, we have to consider each and everything. So notes are also given over here. You can go through it to understand the full concept over here. I hope it's clear now, students. So moving on to the perquisite. The category A perquisites are those perquisite, those are taxable for all employees. So it does not matter. So when we will discuss the definition of specified employee or non-specified employee, when we will come upon these kind of perquisite, those are taxable only in the hands of specified employee. So till that time, you have to wait to understand the difference between specified and non-specified. So first of all, taxable for all employees. Rent-free accommodation, we have separate rules for it. Concession in rent, we have separate provision for each and everything. Payment of obligation of employee met by employer, we will discuss that. This is for your reading. You can read it. This point you can read. Amount payable by an employer directly, indirectly to effect an insurance on the life of the assessee. We will discuss it later. Specified security or sweat equity share, detail will be discussed later in this chapter. Amounts or aggregate of amount of any contribution made to the account of assessee by employer in a recognized provident fund in NPS or in superannuation fund. We will discuss it. And this is the provision we have discussed in the last topic, that one provision is very, very difficult. This is that provision detail that is going to be discussed in this chapter, part 2 of this salary provision. Annual accretion to the balance at the credit of the recognized provident fund, NPS approved superannuation fund, which relates to the employer contribution. So this topic I'm going to discuss with you at the last. So this would be our end game. Understood? Because it is most difficult topic in my opinion of the salary chapter. So we will discuss this topic at the end of the salary, maybe on the 6th session. So this is our end game. Do not worry, we will discuss it. any other fringe benefits, interest, traveling, free, gift voucher, credit, club expenditure, these all are going to be discussed in the remaining points. So the salary part is left is now discussion of perquisite. In the first part, we have discussed that salaries including 4 components: basic salary, advance salary, arrear of salary, bonus commission is first part. Then taxable portion of allowances is second. Then compensation is third, and last would be the perquisite. So we have completed basic salary concepts, all allowances concepts, all compensation has been done. Now whatever is left is perquisite in this chapter. Nothing else. Perquisite, and the one small topic is relief, and one is deductions. One small topic is deduction. That is not for more than 10 or 15 minutes. But the balance, whatever is left, is only treatment of perquisite, perquisite, perquisite. And this is our end game topic. The detail is over here. In this topic, we will discuss after our infinity war, what we are going through with perquisite. So perquisite is like our infinity war, and this is our end game that we will discuss at the end. Because if I am going to discuss this right now, so what will happen? Infinity war will spoil, because it is too complicated to understand in my opinion. So I have tried to explain it with a lot of things, but we will discuss it with example at the end. So just do not worry about. Exemption in respect of payment from superannuation fund. Kindly read it yourself. Simple point. Now tax-free perquisite in all cases. There are certain tax-free perquisite also, in which we do not need to pay any kind of taxes. Because these are tax-free perquisites, so there is no rules. If this perquisite has been given in question, you do not need to tax it at all. So the name just you need to write or remember, like telephone facility. If employer is paying telephone bill of you, there would not be a taxable perquisite, 100% exempted. Suppose if the question says telephone allowances, 1,000 per month. And one more information which says telephone facility, 1,000 per month. So remember, this is telephone allowance. In the allowance section, do we read any provision regarding exemption of telephone allowance? The answer would be no. So that means this is going to be 100% tax. And telephone facility provided 100% exempted, because it is an exemption. So this is facility, that would be allowance. Transport allowance provision is different. Transport facility is fully exempt. So if a cab has been provided to you, no taxability. So be very attentive when there is allowance word has been used or facility, because allowance could have a separate or a different application of taxability, and perquisite could have different applicability. Perquisite allowed outside India by Government of India. We have discussed it multiple times. Employer contribution to staff group insurance scheme, 100% exempted. Annual premium by employer on personal accidental policy, 100% exempted. Accidental policy is exempted. Life insurance policy is taxable. If employer paid life insurance policy premium of employee, that is taxable. We will discuss it. But if it is an accidental policy or a group insurance plan, that is 100% exempted. Refreshment. If you have been provided tea, coffee, snacks, etc. at office premises during office hours, that it is 100% exempted. If it is lunch, then also exempted, but there is 50 rupees per meal exemption. Separate rules would be discussed later in this chapter. Recreational facilities, amount spent on training on employees, sum payable by employer to a RPF or an superannuation fund, leave, travel concession. So all these topics going to be discussed by one. Medical facility we are having a special provision for it. Rent-free official residence, we have a special provision for it also. and conveyance facility, special provision for. So there are some point you have to read yourself, and there are some for which we have specific provisions. This is for your reading. This is for your reading. This we have already discussed earlier. This you can read. Refreshment, subsidized recreational activities. ये भी provision आ गया है. Amount on training, we will discuss later. Read. Leave travel concession, we have specific rules. Rent-free official residence. Read. Conveyance facility is specifically exempted for high court, etc. provisions. So out of these above perquisite, one by one, on which I have not written down R or read provision, that is going to be discussed one by one. The first one we are discussing, leave travel concession. This is leave travel concession, detail provision over here. Let me see if there's any query. So now only perquisite left. Okay, students. Kuldeep is saying learning step by step. Yes, do not bother about right now. Maybe if any one of you thinking, oh my God, how many provisions are there? How I would be able to learn the allowances concept, the basic salary concept, and anyhow I am just able to understand the compensation. Now perquisite rules are there. So understand these provisions are same for every students. So the problem is same for everyone. You have to find the solution. Maybe some of you are more intelligent. Those students can learn each and everything at only once go. And there may be your capacity is not that much, but you can do the same result. You can find out the same result by working hard more than that. Suppose one student is able to learn all the provision if he read that provision twice and you are not able to do that. So maybe you would be able to do that by doing 4 times. So you just need to work hard, but the result would be the same for each and every one. Okay, so working hard is the only thing we have to do. And I believe that if you'll focus and work hard with planning, you will get exactly what the result you have planned for. Okay. 12% deduction. Okay. Let me see, Mustafa. I'm not on PF session. It will be last in class. And sorry, sir, I leave it. So make mistakes. So I read by myself. Do make mistakes. Thank you, sir. You're welcome, Mustafa. Santosh is saying, great, sir. Have a great day. Thank you, Santosh. Nagaraja is saying, salary chapter like sky, but sky is the limit. Don't worry. Are tax-free perquisite exempted in both the regimes? Yes, they are exempted under both the regime. If there would have been any perquisite in which there is no exemption, etc., that would have been specifically mentioned there. You can see leave travel concession in front of you and it has been written, this exemption is available only if employee shifting out of section 115 BAC AC. That means this exemption would be available only for optional tax regime. Neil asking then who will be the Thanos? Nobody is Thanos. All are Iron Man. Okay, 12% is exempted. Yes, Pooja. Dhanlakshmi is saying RPF employee contribution eligible for deduction. Yes. Riddhiben is saying whenever there is theory for numerical, solving some can help in understanding the theory as well. Exactly. Once you look, it's on a two-way relationship. If you read the theoretical provision of HRA, you might be able to read them, learn them, but if you try to solve the numerical and after solving 2 or 3 numerical, automatically your theoretical provision is strong. You will understand those provision conceptually. Okay, after solving numerical, you understand, okay, that's why the 10% of salary or rent paid, etc. has been there. So when you learn any provision theoretically, then you practically solve it. Then they actually make strong each other. In the same way, as in practical life also, when you try something practically as well as academically, after only that, the clarity would be there in both cases. Okay. Quality Anil is saying fully taxable. Pooja, Okay, I guess those answer regarding provident fund provisions. Yes, Santosh. Okay, these are for illustration 8. Hari, here why I take full amount of DA respective percentage. Illustration 3, I have some doubt. Harivansh is saying. Illustration 3, what is the doubt, Harivansh? You can ask. Let me see. Illustration 3 is for pension. What is the doubt, Harivansh? Would you like to ask on unmute mode or you would like to send your query over here? In which point you have problem in illustration 3, you can tell me A, B, C, so I would be able to solve it. Navneet, Tanu, Santosh, Prajapati saying 12% salary. I guess all answers are for Sadia is saying transposed facility, how it is going to be fully exempted. What if he use it for his personal use? Good morning, sir. Good morning at 8:11. Okay. Sadia, facility cannot be used for personal purpose because the cab, suppose you are working in a company and your employer arranged a cab, that your cab would be coming at your house with other colleagues also would be there. You need to be get into the cab. They will drop it at you the office, just like a school bus. When your school van or school bus is there, then you have to just go into that van or bus and they will drop you at the school. So you cannot use it for personal purpose. Not possible practically. And even if you are able to do it practically, if you can use that for personal purpose, income tax cannot find it out. So that in that case, on the basis of for the purpose of numerical solution, that is going to be exempted always. What is exact meaning of conveyance? You can Google it, Harsh, but conveyance is a very general word. Is to go somewhere or to travel. That would be the meaning of conveyance. Practically, conveyance means used anything for official purpose. In A part, Harivansh is asking, in case of government employee. So Harivansh, in case of government employee, it has been discussed earlier also. That is on page number 3.30. That if you are a government employee, then whatever pension you will receive monthly, that is only going to be taxed. That is uncommuted pension. Commuted pensions are going to be exempted in case of government employee always. In this example of illustration number 3, the A point is in respect of if he is a government employee. So the 24,000 only, 5,000 rupees for 4 months and 40% of 5,000 for 2 months. That is equivalent to 24,000 is going to be taxed only. And this commuted value of pension is always exempted for government employee. What is in this illustration to understand? We have discussed that. Nagaraj is saying compute taxable salary deduction come. Yes, for gross salary deduction will not come. But for the purpose of net salary, taxable salary deduction would be there. Deduction part, of course, going to be discussed later in this chapter. One more question, sir. I am solved, but as per ICAI, my answer is wrong. What does that mean? Regarding which question you are talking about, Nagaraja? Kuldeep is saying LTC exemption. We will discuss, Kuldeep, in few minutes. So let's back to the provisions. So first perquisite we are discussing. This is leave travel concession in India. So if your employer provide you to travel within India and the expenditure of traveling is going to be reimbursed or bear by the employer, that facility is called leave travel concession. As the name suggests, leave travel, that means employee is going on leave. An employer is providing him travel concession only. Travel concession. So employer can allow you to go outside India also for traveling. Employer can say, okay, I will pay the traveling expenditure of you and your family, even for outside India. But under income tax, that would be taxable. Whatever amount of traveling expenditure is going to be paid by employer is going to be fully taxable. Exemption would be only if that travel concession has been provided in India. So if that question comes into your mind, what will happen if my employer provide me travel concession outside India? Whatever amount he will reimburse, that is going to be 100% taxable in case of this perquisite. So exemption would be available if the travel concession has been provided for Indian tour. LTC received by employee for himself or for his family from his employer for proceeding to any place in India on leave, retirement or termination is exempt as per rule number 2B. So we have to read the rule number 2B. It will explain how much amount is going to be exempted, available to a citizen as well as non-citizen. This exemption will only work if you shift out of section 115 BAC. So that is, it is only available exemption under optional tax regime, not available under default tax regime. Till now it's clear. Okay. Now this exemption is for your family and employee and his family. So who is included in the definition of family? So things say spouse and your children of individual, whether dependent or not dependent. So for yourself, your spouse or your children can get the benefit of this exemption. So employer can provide LTC exemption to your family, spouse, children and individual. So any expenditure on traveling of these is going to be exempted as per rule number 2B. Even you can take yourself dependent parents, brothers and sister also. So brother, parents and sister can also get this benefit of exemption if employer paid the traveling expenditure of them, provided they are dependent upon the employee. Monisha is saying, good morning, sir. If possible, can you please provide us a chart compiling every provision of income tax, which is taxable under both regime and taxable only under new regime and exempt under both regime? It would be easier for revising instead of going through each provision each day during the last 1 day time of our examination. Look, I am providing all provision via chart mode, chapter wise, right? So those chapters I'm going to cover in this classes. Of course, I'll provide the chart, and in each chart it has been written whether it's fall under optional tax regime or not. But my suggestion for you, Monisha, is that if you'll try this thing yourself, if you'll prepare these short note or chart yourself, that what provisions are applicable on default tax regime and what are under optional tax regime, that would be a great help to yourself. Because once you write something, it is 10 times more better than to read something. So I always did it myself in my journey of becoming a CA. And once you write something, it will actually going to freeze into your brain. That has been scientifically proved. So I recommend that you should try that yourself. Else I am providing chart for each chapter, I guess, and you can find those chart on the portal. Okay. So family means clear. Now note number 2, there was no children limit, but the children limit has been imposed from 1st October 1998. The exemption shall be available only in respect of 2 children. But in case of children born before 1/10/98, this restriction is not applicable. So technically it says, suppose Mr. A is an employee before 1/10/98. He has 3 child. On or after 1/10/98, 4 child, total he is having 7 children. So those children who has been born or taken birth before 1/10/98, they all can, 3 can have an exemption benefit. But the children has taken birth on or after 1/10/1998, only maximum 2 can be considered. So he can claim the exemption of only 5 children. Example 2, suppose before 1/10/98 there was only 1 child takes place, and after 11098, 3 children takes birth. In this case, this has been included, and out of these 3, only 2 children exemption can be claimed. So total exemption can be claimed of 3 children. So before 11098, it does not matter how many children take birth, all are eligible for the purpose of exemption, all. But on or after 1st October 1998, only maximum 2 children can be considered for the purpose of this exemption. Now, there could be a very interesting case. It says, suppose before 1st October 98, on or after 1st October 98, the provision says, suppose before 1st October 1998, there was 3 child takes birth. So they all are eligible for the purpose of exemption. And on or after 1st October 1998, single child born once, and after that, twins born. So now total are 3 over here. Now what should be the total number of exemption of children we can take? So all 3 are eligible. This one is eligible. But out of these twins, so if twins takes birth after the birth of single child, if twins takes birth after the birth of a single child, then they both would be considered as 1. So technically there are 3 children on or after 11098. First birth was a single child, after that twins takes birth. But twins would be considered as 1 child, so total 6 children exemption can be claimed. 3 these children and both twins and the single child can take the exemption benefit. What if vice versa? Suppose only 4 child was there, and on or after 11098, situation changed like this. Twins birth, and after that single child takes birth. Now if twins takes birth initially, then this will be equivalent to 2. Now the limit has been end. So this child cannot take the advantage of LTC exemption. Now total would be 4 plus these 2. So it would be 6. Understand? Total children are 7, but now the benefit would be restricted to only 6 children. This could be twins or thrice. The same provision will applicable. If in the first example, these are not twins, these are 3 children takes place at once, then total 7 exemption we can claim. Again, in this case, not twins, there was thrice takes birth. So 3 and 4, 7 can take the benefit. The moral of the story is this: if twins takes birth before the single child, they will exhaust the full limit. Whether it's 2 or 3 or 4, they can take the benefit, but single child cannot take the benefit. But if single child takes birth initially, and then after twins takes birth, those twins or thrice would be considered for the purpose of exemption. I hope it's clear now. On the basis of this, question has been asked in the examination. Yes, exactly, Kuldeep. Self-prepared chart would be really easy to understand. So I always say, if you are watching my chart, if you are downloading my chart, whether it's for residential status or anything, try to make a chart yourself. Even after watching that chart, if you will prepare that chart yourself on your papers, that is really going to help you a lot. Nagarajas. Mr. Kashyap received basic salary 20k per month. He received children education allowance 3k for 3 children and TA 1800 rupees per month. Assume excise option of shifting out of the default tax regime section 115 BAC1 amount of salary chargeable to tax. 2 wife, 2 children. What you are asking, Nagaraj, if there is any problem in any BOS question, etc., kindly mail this question to the BOS. They will rectify it. Now, what is this question? 2 wife, 2 children is a separate question. What is the query in this? One quadrillate, then it consider what? Look, one single child takes the birth menu, and after that, whether it's twice, thrice, quadrillate, 5, 6, Kaurav, Pandav, does not matter. They all will consider as a single child. So they can all take the exemption. If the twice or thrice or quart or 5 or 6 takes place initially before the birth of single child, then that single child cannot be included. Gold T Anil is saying twins after child, the SSC can claim for all three. Yes. Twins before child, then SSC can claim only two. Exactly. There is no limit in the case children. Yes, there is no limit children born before 11098, whether it core of Panda, whatever it is. One plus two. Yes. With the man. If children born before 98 still will get exemption in 25-26 as children are grown up. So how does it matter if it's grown up? The exemption for children is for whether dependent or not, for both. Look, income tax make provision. We are not going to analyze them practically, but of course there could be reason in which they can claim the exemption. So if theories understand, illustration to become done on, sir, I will ask you to do which kind of illustration when, as I have discussed with you that you have to done illustration till I guess illustration number 8 I have asked you to solve. So illustration test knowledge question I will ask you when to need to be done. Accordingly you can do that. By writing provision, retention period is very long. Exactly, Harsh, you got the point. ITC 252 children while. Like 2 wives are not allowed in our country. So if there is 2 legal wife exist, then you can take the 2 legal wife and children's also you can take but children limit would be maximum same irrespective of the number of wife as we have discussed. So children's are not on the basis of wife, children's been the basis of assessee, individual basis. I think sir is saying about illustration number 11. So we will solve 11 when I will give you the illustration number 11. Then we will discuss that in the next class. Ridhiben asking, children born before 98 still will get exemption in 25-26 as children are now grow up. How does it matter? Thrice take birth after 110-98 and then single child takes birth. Will like thrice take exemption or only two? Thrice. I've told you whether it's thrice or quad or 5 or 6. If they have born, they will be assumed as 2. So even if 4 children takes birth as twins, before the single child, then all those 4 can take the benefit. So understand whether it's twice, twins or thrice takes birth before 198. All of them can take the benefit because they will be considered as maximum 2. So practically they are 3, but they take the benefit of exemption. Let me tell you this case. Thrice take birth. First, 3 children takes birth thrice, and then after 1 single child. So all 3 are eligible to take the benefit. Now it's clear. So we have discussed the family provision. The note number 2 has been discussed. Note 3 says the exemption under this section shall be available to an individual in respect of 2 journey performed in block of 4 calendar years. So LTC exemption. You can claim out of 4 year only for 2 journeys. So rest of 2 journeys would be fully taxable. So out of 4 journeys, only you can take the 2 journeys benefit or exemption accordingly. Your employer can provide you LTC for every year. Suppose employer provide you LTC for every year. So for 4 years, you have been received 4 LTC. Out of this 4, only 2 can be exempted as per income tax benefit. Note number 4. If out of those 4 years, you were eligible for 2 years exemption, but you did not take 2 year exemption, you only take 1 year exemption. out of these 4 years. So rest 1 year exemption you can transfer to another 4 years block. So in that year, out of those 4 year, you can take actually 3 year benefit. So this point we will discuss after the break. Example also given over here. So time for a short break. Let me see if there is any query. If not, Navneet is saying if perk is 2000 for per child, then in case 3, it's 2 into 3000, 6000 will be exempted. No, this is not the way we calculate this perquisite. It is as per rule number 2B. So we have to see the rule number 2B. It is not amount based, it is regarding the, you can say the fare, the train fare, aircraft fare base. So let me complete rule number 2B, Navneet, then you would be able to understand how exemption would be there. So there is no exemption, there is how much amount we can claim as benefit, and out of the amount we receive, we can claim that amount. So let me complete the rule number 2B, then you would be able to understand how to claim exemption. There is no fixed limit exemption in this case. That's why we cannot say like that. Yes, we will take that block provision with the yellow board. Do not worry. And with example also, because it will take time. So I am just wanted that there should be a break before that. It will take 5 or 7 or 8 minutes. Mustafa, we will discuss the block provision after the break. Do not worry. I will explain each and everything in detail. So, can we have a small break? Okay, yes. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. I believe you must have taken your tea, coffee, etc. So, queries. Tarun is saying, I am unable to attend the Zoom meeting, sir. For this issue, who can I contact? I am watching YouTube live. You can send a mail to the Board of Studies. They will definitely going to help you. The technical team will help you regarding it. So, we were discussing the provision of LTC in which there was a block concept. So let's discuss the block concept, what exactly it is. The LTC exemption. The LTC exemption you can take twice out of 4 block of year. So suppose you have joined the company in 2016 and you have been allowed to take the LTC exemption. So the 4-year block would be 4 years. This would be called 4-year calendar block. Out of these 4 year of LTC, suppose your employer provide you LTC every year, but income tax say you can take only exemption as per rule number 2B for any 2 LTC provided in the block of 4 calendar year. 2 LTC exemption you can claim. Clear? Now suppose you have claimed 2 LTC exemption in this 4 block of calendar year. So in the next 4 calendar year, 20, 21, 22, 23, out of these now 4 block year, again you are eligible to take 2-year LTC exemption. But now suppose what happened, out of these 2 LTC exemption, you only avail 1 LTC exemption. You only avail 1 LTC exemption. So now you are having 1 remaining exemption. So this 1 LTC exemption you can carry forward to next block of 4 calendar year. You can carry forward, but there is a restriction. This 1 year LTC exemption you have to take in the first. You have to take this exemption in the first year of the next 4 year of block. So in remaining 3 years, you can take 2 LTC exemption. Now there must be one question in your mind. What if I will not avail any exemption? I did not avail any exemption, no exemption. So I have remaining with 2 LTC exemption in these 4. But still, even if you have 2 LTC exemption, only 1 you can carry. 1 would be lapse. Only 1 you can carry forward. So if you utilize 1, you can carry forward 1. If you did not utilize anyone, you can carry only 1 LTC exemption, and that you need to take in the first year of the next 4 year of block. So practically we can say that any employee can claim maximum 3 LTC exemption. Maximum 3 LTC exemption in any 4 calendar year of block. How 3? 2 for that 4 block of year and 1 could be which has been carried forward from last block of year concept. Understood? So suppose there is an optional question MCQ and it has been asked, how many LTC maximum an employee can claim in a 4 block of year? So maximum it could be 3. 2 years for the same 4 block of year and 1 could be which has been carried forward from the last 4 year of block. Now understood? Correct, Shamli? 3. Okay. So moving on to the provision. Note number 4 and note number 3 was regarding that LTC concept of 2 years. An employee does not avail any LTC for block of 18 and 21. He is allowed to carry forward maximum 1 unavailed LTC to be used in the succeeding block of 22 to 25. Accordingly, if he avails in April 25, the same will be treated as having availed in respect of the block of 1821. So 1821, 1 LTC he can claim in April 25. Therefore, he will be eligible for exemption in respect of that January, and 2 more January can be further availed in respect of the block of 2022 and 25. Monetary limit. Now section rule number 2B is very important. How much can be exempted in case of LTC? What is the exemption amount? That is very important for the purpose of examination to solve the numerical. And again, very easy because we have already gone through with HRA exemption, provision, gratuity, leave encashment, etc. etc. So this LTC rule number 2B exemption is very easy now. LTC rule number 2B. It says that whether you might be traveling via aircraft. So if LTC has been provided to travel via aircraft, it depends upon the policy of employer and the position of the employee. Then the exemption would be find out as follows. It says economy fare via national carrier like Air India, etc. So we have to take the economy fare via national carrier for the place you are going from shortest route, or actual amount. Everything would be given in the question. Actual amount spent. Whichever is lower is going to be exempt. For example, LTC provided for 20,000 rupees. Aircraft LTC has been provided for 20,000 rupees and the economy class fare via national carrier Air India Airlines, suppose that was 16,000 rupees. But you did not went via national carrier, we went through some other airline like Indigo, etc. And the fare was the actual amount, the actual fare we have paid is suppose 19,000. Now, if I ask you how much amount is going to be exempted, then we will compare between economy class fare and actual amount spent, whichever is lower. So 16,000 would be the exempted amount. And what would be the taxable? Taxable always rule received minus exempt. So taxable value would be 4,000 rupees. So it is this simple. LTC amount is received amount. Economy class fare would be given in question. Actual amount spent would be given in question. Lower would be exempted. Balance would be taxable. As simple as that. Suppose if the journey has been conducted via train, then first point will be changed. Is going to be changed. Second will remain the same. The first would be first class AC fare for that journey via shortest route, or actual amount spent, whichever is lower is exempt. Again, that would be given in question. Third, suppose if train does not exist for that journey, suppose there is no train route exist. In that case, there would be two cases. First, public transport available like bus. So if public transport available, then deluxe or AC fare for shortest route or actual amount spent, whichever is lower is exempt. If no public transport exists, suppose you are going to travel somewhere where there is no train connectivity, no flight connectivity, no public transport exists. In that case, how we will find out the comparable fare? So the provision has been made. First class AC fare via train. Now we have seen that train does not exist. That's why it has been written that no public transport is there. Then how or why this train route has been considered? The provision says first class AC fare via train. So okay, the train is not going there. No public transport. But we know the distance from where you are moving and the destination, the distance we must have known. Maybe it's 300 kilometer, 400, 500. So we will consider the train fare for the same distance if we travel via train. that train fare, comparable fare need to be taken in point number 1. That would be given in question. First class AC train fare, first class AC fare via train for such distance. So that is kind of a fair market value, yeah, fair rental value via train for such distance. So actually train is not going there, but we can see how much kilometer that place is from my place. So for that kilometer, if we go through train into India, what is the comparable first class AC fare? We will take that in point number 1, or actual amount spent. How you are traveling via taxi, etc. Lower is going to be exempted. All these 1, 2, 3 cases, in all these 3 cases, the fare would be taken via shortest route. So some distance is like from, for suppose 300 kilometer. So we will take the 300 kilometer AC fare, etc. But you say, no, I will reach 300 kilometer, but first I will go somewhere else. Then I will go somewhere else. Then I will go to my destination. So my traveling would be 800 kilometers. So that 800 kilometer fare would not be considered. Only the shortest route fare need to be considered. That would be given in question. So this is a very simple provisions. After solving gratuity, leave encashment, this is technically very simple questions. So these are the provision via aircraft, any other mode, rail not available, public transport, no public transport. This exemption is only available if employee shift out of section 115 BAC. We have discussed it. So that was the first perquisite rules we have discussed. Now second is medical facilities. Multiple provision in medical facility perquisite. Let me see if there is any. Navneet is saying, summarize again, please. We are on YouTube, Navneet. You can scroll back and you can see what do I need to summarize in this. Is it block start with joining date? No, block would be start from the year in which you are eligible for taking LTC. That would be given in the question. So medical facility, there are multiple benefit has been provided. Or you can say under income tax is very emotional act. Whenever there is about something regarding health or life, they will provide you benefit. Directly or indirectly, they will provide you benefit. Or they will not going to tax something. So because now we are talking about medical facility, that means employee is receiving medical treatment, employee or his family member receiving medical treatment, etc. from the employer. So what is going to be taxed? And let me tell you, there would be multiple exemption. There are multiple exemption, multiple benefit in case of medical facility. So the taxability is very low because it is regarding health, etc. Understood? So medical facility concept we will discuss one by one. So following are exempt in the hands of employee in case of medical facility. The first is medical facility provided in a hospital, clinic, etc. maintained by employer. So there is an hospital which is maintained by employer. So if in that hospital employee or his family member is having some medical treatment, so any expenditure on that medical treatment reimbursed by the employer or provided free by the employer, that is 100% exempt. Nothing is taxable. Understand? Again, suppose that employer does not own any hospital or the employee is taking treatment somewhere else. Then point number 2 says reimbursement of expenditure incurred by employee on medical treatment in any hospital maintained by the government, local authority or any approved hospital by government, or in respect of prescribed disease in any hospital approved by Chief Commissioner or Principal Commissioner of Income Tax. No taxability if your case fall either in case A or case number B. In respect of illness relating to COVID-19 subject to certain condition notified by the government. In this case also, there is nothing is going to be taxed. So if your case fall in point number 1, point number 2, A, B or C case, That is not going to be taxed. Third is premium paid to affect an insurance on the health of the employee. So health insurance is paid by employer for the health of employee. That is not going to be taxed, exempted. Life insurance is taxable, health insurance is exempted. Reimbursement of premium paid to affect an insurance on the health of employee or for the family of an employee. Any sum paid by employer in respect of any premium. So this is for your reading purpose. You can read it. And you can see multiple benefits are there. Nothing is taxable till now. This is taxable. Reimbursement of expenses incurred by employee on medical incurred by the employee on medical. So this has been repeated twice. Employee on medical. This is twice. Treatment from any private doctor is full taxable. So if the medical treatment has done under any private hospital or under any private doctor, and if that payment has been made by the employer, that is going to be 100% taxable in the hands of employee. Let me tell you, no exemption in this case. Now this is very, very interesting and important also. So you can see if the treatment has been undertaken in the hospital maintained by employer, exemption is there. If the treatment in a government hospital, exemption is there. If the treatment of a specified disease in a hospital which is approved by principal, commissioner, etc., 100% exempted. If it is COVID-19 illness treatment, 100% exempted. If it is medical insurance paid by employer, 100% exempted. Only treatment in a private hospital is yet taxable. And whenever we are discussing about the employee and family member, so this is the definition of employee and family member which has been written over there. But before this, now the sixth is different. It says, suppose the employee or family member treatment has been done outside India. So now the treatment is going to be done outside India. So if there's a treatment outside India, then there would be three main expenditure. One is traveling expenditure. Second is stay expenditure. And third is treatment expenditure. Employer is paying all these expenditure for employee. It's travel expenditure, stay expenditure, and treatment. So the provision says in case of treatment outside India, the patient cannot go alone. So the provision says that travel expenditure of patient plus one attendant only allowed, exempted. So patient will not go alone. One attendant expenditure of traveling also exempt. Same in case of stay. Patient plus one attendant is allowed. But of course, the treatment is only of patient. So these expenditure of traveling and stay for patient and one attendant and treatment of patient would be exempted if permitted by RBI, because expenditure of outside India. So RBI permission is required. So up to RBI permit, it is exempted. Up to RBI permission, it is exempted. But there is a very interesting point yet to discussed. First of all, basic provision, expenditure incurred by employer on medical treatment outside India. So we are discussing about patient. Travel and stay abroad of employee and one attendant. So stay and traveling expenditure of employee and one attendant. That means patient and one attendant would be exempted. However, this is a new point, or we can say this is an interesting additional point. Before that, read this point. The perquisite element in respect of expenditure on medical treatment stay abroad will exempt only to the extent permitted by RBI. Now, this point is saying something else. It's saying, however, the expenditure on travel, that means stay expenditure would be exempted up to RBI limit. medical expenditure would be exempted up to RBI limit. But for the purpose of travel expenditure exemption, there are two conditions need to be fulfilled. First is RBI permission, but there is second additional condition. This traveling expenditure of patient and one attendant would be exempted only if the GTI, gross total income of employee, does not exceed the specified limit. So suppose the travel expenditure is 3 lakh rupees, out of which RBI permit only 2 lakh. So technically 1 lakh to automatically taxable, because out of 3 lakh rupees, RBI only permit 2 lakh rupees exemption. So automatically 1 lakh is taxable. So still there is exemption of 2 lakh rupees. But wait, these 2 lakh could also be taxable if your gross total income exceed the specified limit. So these 2 lakh would be exempt if your GTI would not exceed the specified limit. The specified limit was 2 lakh rupees earlier, but now it has been changed to 8 lakh rupees. So now understand, stay expenditure and treatment expenditure would be automatically exempted if RBI permit. But travel expenditure, there are two restrictions. There are two levels. First is RBI permission you required. So you have expended 3 lakh rupees on travel. RBI said, no, we will only allow 2 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh is automatically taxable. Now for this 2 lakh, one level we have to cross again. We have to find it out our GTI. If the GTI of the employee exceed 8 lakh rupees, GTI, gross total income exceed 8 lakh, then this 2 lakh also going to be taxed. If GTI is less than 8 lakh, then 2 lakh would remain exempted. So first of all, you have to calculate GTI without tax these 2 lakh rupees. Assume this 2 lakh is exempted and then calculate your GTI. Suppose after claiming this 2 lakh exemption, 1 lakh to taxable, that would form part of my GTI. Assume this 2 lakh is exempted. My GTI in one case is suppose 7 lakh 90,000. So this 2 lakh would be exempted and my GTI would remain 790. Suppose the GTI is 8 lakh 50,000. Now what will happen? These 2 lakhs are going to be taxed, and now these 2 lakh would form part of my salary income. So technically now my GTI would be 10 lakh 50,000 rupees. This medical perquisite would be now taxable. This travel expenditure only going to be taxed. So this point is very, very important in my opinion. If there could be any question frame out of the medical facility, that would be based upon medical facility outside India on the basis of GTI. They will give you two cases. Suppose GTI is less than, suppose GTI is 7 lakh 90,000, 80,000. And what if his GTI is 8 lakh 10,000 or something? So in case the question asks GTI exceeding 8 lakh, you have to add back the expenditure which we have claimed as exempted under travel expenditure case. That would form part of your GTI. Okay, so only travel expenditure will be affected with this provision. So this is the point number 6. Payment of premium on personal accident insurance policy. Therefore, the premium so paid will not constitute taxable perquisite. So any health premium, accidental premium, medical premium paid by employer is non-taxable in the hands of employee. Life insurance premium paid is going to be taxed. So now perquisite, those are taxable only in the hands of a specified employee. So those perquisite taxable only in the hands of a specified employee. So first of all, we have to see the person or the employee who would be called a specified employee. any monetary obligation of the employee which is discharged by the employer. The basic concept is obligation. Obligation means legal liability. So if you are using electricity in your house, who is legally liable to pay the electricity bill? You. If you are using water supply at your house, who required to pay water tax? Of course, it's you. So whatever we use, we are legally liable to pay it. So in case of salary, if employee is using anything for his personal purpose, suppose I am an employee, I am of course consuming electricity in my house, but employers say, okay, do not worry, we will pay your electricity bill. So this will call obligation of employee met by employer. I have appointed a cook or a servant, a domestic servant in my house. Employer says, you would not liable to pay his salary, we will pay the salary. Why it will happen? Because I would not be a normal employee. I should be an important employee. Specified means important, which is not the normal employee, which is more than that. So that would be called an specified employee. So technically, the specified employee means, or for the purpose of understanding, we are talking about an employee which is not general employee. Non-specified means ordinary. Specified means special employee. So those special employee can have the special benefit from the employer. So those kind of perquisites which we are going to discuss are these perquisites are going to be taxed only if you are a specified employee. So for that purpose, first of all, we have to find it out whether who would be the specified employee and who would be the non-specified employee. So this is the specified employee definition. Means an employee who satisfies any one of the following conditions. Any one of the. So out of these three conditions, if you are able to fulfill any one of the condition, you would be called a specified employee. If you are not a specified employee, then the above perquisite is not going to be taxed in your hand. So now tell me, in examination, what is the chances of the employee? Whether in the question, more chances that employee would be specified or more chances that employee would not be specified employee. What do you think, students? The specified employee question would be framed by the examiner or non-specified question employee would be framed in the question. Navneet is saying not be specified. Okay. Ashlesha is saying specified. Adil is saying not be specified. Dhanlakshmi is saying specified. Wow, 50-50 answers I have received. Syed Hussain says not specified, general case. GTI including agriculture income too? No, agriculture income is exempted. GTI only include those income, those are taxable, not exempted. Neeraj is saying specified. Pooja is saying non-specified. 50% we are playing. Not specified, Aditya accordingly. Non-specified is saying, no. Galti Anil is saying non-specified unless it's mentioned. My question is, from the examiner point of view, what kind of question they will prefer to frame? An employee which is specified in the question or an employee which should be non-specified from the examiner point of view? Mustafa is saying specified. Shamli Sharma is saying non-specified. It's 50% equally. Wow. Arvanch is saying non-specified. Ashlesha is saying, we should be ready for both, of course, Ashlesha. I am just trying to see that are you able to understand from the point of view of examiner why or what kind of question they will frame. Kuldeep understood the thing correctly and he has given me the answer as per the logic. Where more calculation is required, examiner will frame those questions in which calculation is required. More calculation, and that would be in case of specified, because in case of specified employee, all perquisites are taxable. if that would be a case of non-specified, what you will do? You will exempt these perquisites. So your calculation would be less. But examiner wants more. They needs to know that is a student understand the taxability of all kind of perquisite or not. So accordingly, that's the case. If I'll ask you that what is the probability that in examination total income would be from agricultural income or other than agricultural income question would be there. Examiner is not going to frame a question where it would be written 100% income is agricultural income. Solve, calculate tax on it. Are they going to ask you to calculate tax on agricultural income? Of course not. How they will come to know that you know the provisions? So 90% and more cases, the employee would be always specified. Because in case of a specified employee, all perks are taxable. Otherwise, for non-specified, these are perquisite, obligation of employee made by employer. You will write it down, non-taxable. So that would be not the exact kind of question that need to be asked for a future chartered accountant. Okay, got it? Exactly. General case, it won't be taxable. If this employee is not specified, these perquisite are going to be exempted. So, of course, there would be chances of 90% or more that the employee would be always specified, because in that situation, you have to solve all perquisite given in the question except that telephone facility, vagera, those perquisite exempted for both. Except that you have to calculate each and every point. So, of course, that is the intention. That was the main cause. We need to check that students knows the provision or not. But we have to be ready for that. They could be a non-specified employee also, but I'm just saying maximum chances for specified. So, now, if any of these three conditions fulfill, he will be called an specified employee. The first is employee and director of the company. So now you understand why it is a specified employee, because this is not a simple thing. Are all the employees a director of a company? No. So if you are an employee and you are a director also of that company, that means you have some weightage. You are not normal. You are a special employee. That's why you have been offered directorship. Employee who has substantial interest in the company or the organization. The substantial interest definition we have discussed in basic concept. Under section 232, I guess it was, if you are having 20% or more voting power or profit sharing ratio in any organization, you will be called having substantial interest. So does every employee is having 20% or more voting power in the company? Generally, no. So if there is an employee who has 20% or more voting power of the company, that means that employee is not normal. That is special. And the third one, employee whose monetary salary is exceeding the prescribed amount during the previous year from one or more employer. And the prescribed amount was earlier 50,000, which is now 4 lakh rupees. So if your monetary salary, your cash salary, your monetary salary, remember the format I have told you in the starting that initially you should take all monetary payments. So if the total of those monetary payment exceeding 4 lakh rupees, after applying deductions of salary, section 16, 1, 2 and 3, if that is more than 4 lakh, you will be called an specified employee. So technically 4 lakh in a year means if you are earning more than 40,000 rupees, even if you are earning 40,000 rupees per month, that would be 4 lakh 80,000. So it's not that much amount. If that per month salary of someone is 40,000 around, he or she would be automatically a specified employee. So this third number condition is going to be fulfilled by majority of employees because you won't be a director. You won't have 20% or more share. But of course, you are going to fulfill this 4 lakh per annum limit. And this is the way you have to calculate this 4 lakh rupees. Basic salary, all monetary payments, taxable portion, whether it's bonus, commission, allowances, etc. All monetary payment. Total would be gross salary. Just leave the non-monetary payments. Consider all monetary payments. Reduce deduction. GST deduction would be discussed later in this chapter. And after that, if it is exceeding 4 lakh rupees, you would be called a specified employee. Okay. Now the valuation and the treatment of different perquisite. Valuation of different perquisite. First is rent-free house. This one and the first one is very, very important. We have discussed the house rent allowance concept. That was a allowance by which your employer willing to provide you the amount for which you can find a rental accommodation for yourself. It was allowance because in that case, the monetary amount has been transferred to you. Now, you have to find out the house. You can live in your own friend house, your relative house, or wherever you want. But this employer is just going to pay you a certain amount of allowance per month. And you have to find the house, etc. So for that, we have discussed the HRA exemption provision. Now, in this case, employer is providing you the facility. They are not providing you money. They are providing you the actual house. So employer will say, go and live in that flat or bungalow or anything, and you need not to pay anything for it. This is free for you. That's why it's called rent-free house perquisite, valuation of residential accommodation. And we can say this is calculation of unfurnished accommodation provided to an employee. Now let me tell you that accommodation means the flat, etc. So that could be of two types. Either employer will provide you unfurnished accommodation. Unfurnished means the furniture, AC, TV, fridge, bed, etc. That is your headache. You have to take it with yourself anyhow. So that would be a case of unfurnished accommodation, that employer is only providing you the flat. Furniture is your headache. Or there could be a case of furnished accommodation, in which you will get the flat as well as the furniture also from employer. So both kind of rent-free house could be there. There could be unfurnished, there could be furnished also. So we have to discuss the both kind of perquisite taxability. Understood? There are two cases, but first of all, we have to see how to find out the taxable value in case of unfurnished accommodations. Yes, Navneet, 50K is now 4 lakh. Seminar fees paid by employer, it's perquisite. If it is an official seminar, Nagaraja, then it would not be a taxable perquisite. It would be exempted. We have that provision in later concept, in which you will see if any training expenditure, seminar expenditure, anything which is paid by employer for business purpose, that is not going to be treated as your perquisite. Sir, unfurnished accommodation house, what we will get? We will get the house only, the flat, empty flat, walls, ceiling, flooring. Okay. The kitchen and the room, the furniture, air condition, bed, etc. That's nothing we are having. So if we are having everything like TV, fridge, air condition, furniture, sofa, bed, that would be furnished. Unfurnished, proper flat, that's it. So we will understand this concept with the help of the diagram, of course. So rent-free house. So there would be two cases. One is unfurnished. And furnished accommodation. In case of unfurnished, there would be two situations. Either the employer is government employer or other employer. If it is a government employer, in that case, the taxable value. Remember, now we are not finding out the exempted value. We are directly need to calculate the taxable value of Perquisite. That would be the license fees or rent as per government rules. We do not need to bother about it. That would be directly your taxable value. So rent-free house case, whether if it is unfurnished, then either it would be from government employer or our employer is other than government employer. If it is a government employer, the taxable value would be license fee or rent as per government rules. Whatever that license fee has been given in question, we will consider it as taxable value, that's it. But in case of other, there are two more cases. Whether the house which has been provided by the employer, the accommodation provided by the employer, we are talking about the house, the flat, whether the accommodation would be owned by employer. Either the company or the employer would be the owner of that accommodation, owner, or on rent, not owned by employer. That means employer also have that property on rent, which employer provide you. That property is not owned by employer, but that is on rent. Employer is also the tenant, but he asked you that you can stay in that house for free of cost. I will pay the rent to the landlord. So on rent, or it could be on lease. So either that accommodation would be owned by employer and that could be on rent or lease to the employer. If it is owned by employer, then there could be three different scenarios. How interesting it is. Look at the chart, how beautiful it's going to be. There could be three situations, depending upon the population of that place in which the house has been provided to you. Either the population of that city in which you are having this rent-free house, the population either exceeding 40 lakh, or the population is between 15 to 40 lakh. Or third case, which is other. Other means population is less than 15 lakh. That would be mentioned in the question. But suppose if that has been written in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, automatically population is more than 40 lakh. That's a general knowledge. Otherwise, it would be here in the question. So if the population is exceeding 40 lakh rupees, you might be thinking how complicated it is. But you can see we did nothing. Government employer taxable value would be given in the question in the form of license fees. If the accommodation is other than employer, then suppose it's practically, if I am providing my house to my employee, there will be two situations. Either I am the owner of that house or I am not the owner of that house. If I am the owner of that house, there could be three possibilities regarding the population. If it is more than 40 lakh, then taxable value, we are discussing taxable value, 10% of salary for the period house is occupied. For the period accommodation occupied. Suppose if house has been provided for 8 months, then we will take 8 months salary, 10%, solved. This is easy than HRA, just one figure, and this is direct taxable value. In most of the perquisite, we need to find out the taxable value directly. In allowances, we have to find the exemption amount. But in perquisite, we generally calculate taxable value. If it is 15 to 40 lakh, just percentage is going to be changed. The 7.5% of salary. If it is less than 15 lakh, it is only 5% of salary. Other is same exactly for the period accommodation is occupied. So is it difficult? 5, 7.5 or 10% directly you have to put it on salary. you will get your answer. If on rent or lease, here is a good news. It is fixed. 10% of salary, of course, for the period, or rent paid by employer. Whichever is lower is your taxable value. Population does not matter in case of rental. If it is owned by employer, then population will matter. Otherwise, population will not matter in this case. Fine. So this was unfurnished accommodation provision ended. We will discuss it with the help of example later. Before that, let me tell you the homework and then we will solve some MCQs also. Do not ask anything regarding rent-free house perquisite now because it's yet to be completed. So it's not completed yet, it's to be continued. So when we will complete it, because there are something you need to be asked that what is the meaning of salary? Is it gratuity, C case, etc. So that's yet to be discussed. No, it's not gratuity, C case. It has a separate definition of salary in case of rent-free house. Before that, let me give you the homework. So you need to try that. Illustration 8 we have discussed, I guess illustration 9 also I have given to you. No. So illustration 9 you have to try right now. Illustration 9. Illustration 10 you skip because that is for provident fund provision, the end game provision. Write it down, the name of that concept is end game. Illustration 10 is our end game. We will discuss it later. Then illustration after 9. Illustration number 12. 11 you have to do. 12, these are for LTC. The twins concept you will be able to understand in this. Then medical facility illustration 13, you have to try. Bus. This is the illustration you have to try. Then let me see the queries. If there's any query, else we will move on to our small MCQ sheet. Sir, as per the progress of the class, please mention what number of illustration we should solve. I don't understand 4 lakh when it will discuss. What does that mean, Mustafa? I know this provision, don't know when, but I did the provision question, I think maybe in my degree, sir. That 4 lakh, I didn't understand what you want to ask, Mustafa. In this case, salary means, I told you we will discuss everything about this rent-free house. Rent-free house is not yet completed, and I don't want to discuss the salary point in this because you will see rent-free house a very important perquisite. Until now, you will feel that there is nothing difficult. So how it is important? Because it's not yet completed. The salary definition is difficult and there are certain more cases. Illustration 5, I have a doubt. Harivansh is saying, what doubt you are having in illustration 5, Harivansh? Tell me. In which case, A or B? The leave salary case. So because of short of time, Harivansh, we will discuss that topic in next session. I want to discuss some MCQs with all of you. Let me see any query. Sir, why is chapter so vast? Good question, Saipa. Because this is important for your life. If that would be easy, then nobody is going to come when you become a CA to ask the problem. Because this is vast, this is difficult, this is complicated. That's why you are going to have a lot of money when you will become a chartered accountant, whether as a practitioner or whether as an employee. That's why. Okay. Easy things do not have any value in your life. So if I solve an illustration and question study material, it will cover every concept of the chapter salary, solve all illustration, test your knowledge question, the MCQs we are giving, and then institute will upload the mock test question, RTP questions, case scenario. Yes, after doing all this case scenario, RTP question, MTP question, everything would be covered in it. I assure you regarding it. Chalo, now MCQ sheet I am opening for all of you. General questions, not much difficult. The calculation question I will give you for homework in MCQ sheet also. This is our first question. What is of the following is not treated as salary income? What is the correct answer, student? Out of these four, which is not your salary income? The correct answer is option number C, because advanced against salary. It's a kind of a loan. It could not be your salary income at all. It is a kind of a loan. So, very good. Second question regarding your hostel expenditure allowance. So, the question in front of you, kindly tell me the correct answer. For an employee receipt of hostel expenditure allowance for 3 children, what could be the maximum annual allowance exemption? For hostel expenditure, 300 rupees per month per child maximum for 2 children is exempt. So that means 3600 rupees for per child maximum can exempt. So the correct answer would be 7200. Mr. A is employed in ABS Transport as cabin driver. He is paid 15,000 every month in the whole year as allowance for meeting his personal expenditure. He does not receive any other allowance. The amount of allowance eligible for exemption is, so we have to find it out, 70% of allowance or 10,000 rupees per month, whichever is lower. So in this case, the lower would be 10,000 because this would be 10,500. So total value for the annual year would be B would be the correct answer. Children education allowance received by an employee from his employer 80 rupees per month per child for 3 children. What would be the taxable value? So the provision was 100 rupees per month per child for each children. So we have to solve separately for each children. 80 rupees, 80 rupees, 80 rupees. 100 rupees per child maximum exemption, but we cannot claim more than 80. So for first child exemption would be 80 and taxable nil. For second also it would be nil, but for third child it's going to be taxed, full taxed, because exemption needs to be taken. Benefit or 20 benefit over here, no. Only for each child we have to find out the exemption value. So the correct answer would be A. 12 into 80, 960 would be your taxable value. Chandan, a handicapped employee, received 1500 per month as transport allowance from his employer. His actual expenditure on transport is 1000 per month. The amount of transport allowance taxable under the head income from salary would be, for handicapped employee, the exemption is 3200 rupees per month. The actual expenditure is irrelevant because the exemption is fixed, 3200 rupees per month. He is receiving 1500. Out of this, we can claim full 1500 as an exemption. So taxable value would be nil. Correct answer is option number B. This is gratuity question. So this is for your homework again. You can try to solve it. You can take the screenshot, or later on it is on YouTube. You can take a screenshot at that time and you have to solve this question, and I will upload the correct answer of these MCQs. Question 6 you have to solve. Question 7 again for gratuity. You can take the screenshot and you can solve it later. Fine. Question number 8 again for pension provision it is. So it's very interesting. Pension question illustration we have done in the class also. It is just similar to that, but it's for practice also. So try this. If there would be any issue, we will solve it together. And this is for your HRA calculation. One more question. You have to try it yourself. I will upload the answers, correct option. If there would be any issue, we will solve it in the next class. I hope it's clear. So now there was story time, and after that I will see if there is any query. We will solve it. So a very simple and small story, and that would be in Hindi as always. एक बारी क्या होगा कि एक plane में मिस्टर ए जा रहे थे और आराम से बैठे हुए थे। थोड़ी देर बाद प्लेन में प्रॉब्लम शुरू हुआ। प्लेन थोड़ा सा, वेदर बाहर खराब हुआ तो थोड़ा सा डाइवर्ट होने लगा, थोड़ा सा शिवरिंग होने लगा। देयर वुड बी सम प्रॉब्लम इन द प्लेन एंड जो मिस्टर ए थे वो बहुत डर गए। तो ही स्टार्ट प्रेइंग टू गॉड कि भगवान बचा लो, भगवान बचा लो, क्या होगा भगवान, मैं मर जाऊंगा, सेव अस, सेव अस, सेव अस। एंड इतना ज्यादा दिल से बोला कि भगवान आ गए। भगवान ने पूछा क्या हुआ, तो कहते भगवान मुझे बचा लो, बिकॉज प्लेन तो बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम दे रहा है, इट वुड बी बहुत डिफिकल्ट होगा मेरे लिए और मेरे को बहुत डर लग रहा है। तो उन्होंने कहा देखो, तुम तो प्लेन चला भी नहीं रहे हो, चला कौन रहा है प्लेन, उड़ा कौन रहा है प्लेन, द पायलट, ही इज ड्राइविंग दैट, ही इज फ्लाइंग दैट। वो मुझे नहीं बुला रहा है, वो आराम से अपना प्लेन चला रहा है शांति से, जबकि उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आप सब लोगों से ज्यादा, बिकॉज उसकी भी लाइफ डेंजर में है और आप सब लोगों की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी, और उसका ये जॉब भी है करना, तो आप सबसे ज्यादा प्रेशर तो उसके ऊपर। बट स्टिल उसने मुझे एक बार भी नहीं बोला कि भगवान बचा लो। ही इज डूइंग हिज जॉब, बिकॉज उसके लिए उसने प्रिपरेशन करी है, जो उसका ट्रेनिंग होगा उसमें सिखाया गया होगा कि जब वेदर बैड होता है, जब विंड होता है, जब स्ट्रॉम होता है, तो हाउ टू हैंडल इट। तो उसको अपने टैलेंट पर भरोसा है एंड ही इज ट्राइंग हिज बेस्ट। ही इज नॉट कॉलिंग मी बिकॉज ही इज प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट, एंड यू आर कॉलिंग मी बिकॉज इवन देन जब तुम कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते। तो एग्जैक्टली व्हाट द पायलट इज डूइंग, जो उसने अपनी प्रिपरेशन करी है, वो उसके हिसाब से सिचुएशन को संभालने की, सॉल्व करने की कोशिश कर रहा है। बिकॉज ये तो लाइफ में हमेशा होगा ना, बिकॉज circumstances you cannot change, you have to adapt yourself according to the situation. So there could be thunderstorm, there could be struggle in your studies also. ऐसी सिचुएशंस भी आएंगी, हो सकता है स्टडीज के दौरान, जब मे बी यू बिकेम इल, आपकी तबीयत ठीक ना हो, फैमिली इश्यू हो जाए। लेकिन आपको क्या करना है, यू हैव टू बी फोकस। आप अपनी पढ़ाई इतनी अच्छी तरह कीजिए कि आप अपनी पढ़ाई पर फोकस कर कर उसको सॉल्व करने की कोशिश कीजिए। भगवान नहीं आने वाले, दे विल जस्ट गिव यू करेज, स्ट्रेंथ, बट यू हैव टू बी द वन हु नीड्स टू फाइट। तो भगवान को याद नहीं करना है, वो आपके साथ होंगे, दे विल सपोर्ट यू, बट इट इज ऑल अबाउट योर टैलेंट। तो इफ यू प्रिपेयर्ड वेल, बिकॉज यू कैन नॉट चेंज द सर्कमस्टेंसेस, things will change, ups and downs will be there, problems would be there, different kinds of problem, different kinds of scenario would be there, but you have to work on your talent। अपनी जो पढ़ाई करी है, अपना जो रिवीजन किया है, उसको अच्छी तरह से करो, जिससे कोई भी सिचुएशन आए तो उसे आप हैंडल कर पाओ कूलली एंड कामली। तो ऐसे भगवान को बुलाने से कुछ नहीं होगा, आप अपने ऊपर भरोसा कीजिए, गॉड विल हेल्प यू, डेस्टिनी विल हेल्प यू, बट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू हैव टू बिलीव इन योर सेल्फ। So always be prepared for different kind of circumstances, and when things are not in your favor, जब आपके फेवर में नहीं है, things ups and downs है, तब भी be calm, be positive, अपना वर्क करते रहो, try to solve things according to your talent, and let me tell you, if you prepared well, if you plan well, you would be able to solve any problem, any situation in your life. Okay, so that's all about, every problem solution is within us. What case scenario question? Case scenario question would be there, in which there would be a case and there would be 4 or 5 multiple choice question. On the basis of that question or the case, you have to solve it. So you will come to know what kind of these case scenario question later. So if there is any query, let me see. Navneet is saying you are a great sir. Your story really motivates sir. Welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for valuable session. Thank you, Saifa. Any other query? Harivansh, Kuldeep. All time I remember about my study and I forget all other words. That's the way you have to be in this profession. Nagar, just view site website there. I'm solving every day. Nagarja, very, very good. Any other query? Let me see. Riddhiben. Okay. Riddhiben is saying, sir, if employee take extra leave, then given an employer cut the salary of extra day leave, will it affect? No, it would not affect. There would be no leave encashment. If your salary would be deducted due to extra leave, there would not be any leave encashment concept would be there. But your question is not practically correct, but you will not be paid that salary earlier. So how they will cut? But according to what you are asking this question again and again, I believe, but the question is having a technical mistake, but I have told you that there would be no impact on the provisions. Who raised hand? Tanisha. Shamli is saying thank you. Okay. Anil is saying okay. Nothing from this. Pooja, no query. Neeraj, no query. Dhanlakshmi, no query. Adil, no query. 25 more to go. Thanks a lot. Okay, welcome. Avinash, no queries. Archana, no query. Theosyami, no queries. 17 to go. Santosh, thank you. Welcome. No query. Prerna, no query. Achitya, no query. Sadia, advance salary is taxable salary, sir. It is part of salary, IT section 50. Advance salary is your salary, but advance against salary is not your salary, Sadia. Okay. Adil Khan, thank you. Welcome. Mujahid is saying good morning, sir. Very good, Mujahid. 9:48. Good morning. कोई बात नहीं. Kuldeep is saying thank you for teaching inside. Welcome. Harivansh is saying oh, sir, your story is related to real life problem and confusion after listening story being model. That's good. That's why stories are there. And these are technically not stories. These are the technical reality. And it's very difficult to find that kind of story. बहुत time लगता है मेरे को उसमें बच्चों तुम्हारे लिए. चलो. There's no more query. So Ayaz ji, can we close the session? Ji, thank you Ayaz. Good day.